Hello everyone and welcome to another random review. As promised, a little later than I might have anticipated and liked, here is my review of Rob Zombie's 2007 remake of John Carpenter's original film, Halloween. Produced in 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween was followed by a sequel, Halloween 2, produced in 2009. Starring Scout Taylor Compton as the female protagonist and heroine, Laurie Strode, Danielle Harris as Annie Beckett, and Taylor Maine as Michael Myers. The film takes a realistic and hardline approach to Michael's character and is far more violent than the original incarnation produced in 1978. As was the norm with horror films and slasher films at that time, it was seen that films had to be far more violent in nature to get their point across than simple suspense and imagination. Such was the subtlety and beauty of John Carpenter's Halloween, in this YouTube creator's opinion. We open on the Myers household in 1990, and right off the bat, we realize that we are introduced to a 10-year-old Michael Myers, who is seen in a clown mask tending to his pet rat, Elvis, patting him and saying he is a good boy. Meanwhile, downstairs, we are also introduced to the rest of Michael's family. His mother, stepfather, and Michael's mother's partner, Ronnie, an obnoxious, foul-mouthed man who is currently suffering from a broken arm and injured leg, who does not appear to be working, and Michael's obnoxious sister, Judith, who does not seem to care for Michael, or in fact Ronnie, or her mother for that matter, being a typical obnoxious teenage girl. And in saying that, I'm not saying all teenagers are obnoxious. I am simply saying she is. Michael's mother asks for Judith to bring Michael downstairs, to which she does, which is promptly mocked by Ronnie for being potentially gay and saying that he will eventually have a sex change and change his name from Michael to Michelle. Furthering this, there is tension when Judith refuses to have eggs for breakfast, saying they're chicken abortions and she does not eat them. Michael's mother counters this and insists that she eat, to which Judith refuses and promptly walks out. Upon which Ronnie makes a disgusting sexual remark relating to Judith, prompting Michael's mother to scream at him, and the two have an argument, cursing each other and using profanity. This, unfortunately, causes a young baby to cry, prompting Michael's mother to pick the child up and be taken out of the room. This child is nicknamed Boo and is revealed to be Michael's younger sister, to be the only innocent person in the house, seemingly, and the only one to whom Michael shows any warm affection and genuine care. We are then taken to Michael's school, where it is revealed that Michael is bullied by an obnoxious child and another boy in the bathrooms. The boy insults Judith, stating that she is promiscuous and inquiring whether she will pay him for sex. This infuriates Michael, who promptly tells the boy to fuck off. Unfortunately, their arguing is overheard by the school principal, who promptly breaks up the fight and calls Michael's mother, who also has a meeting with the principal, and a child psychologist named Dr. Loomis, portrayed by legendary actor Michael McDowell, who also, to you Mentalist fans out there, portrays Brett Stiles. And rest assured, I will do a review of The Mentalist down the road, as it is one of my favorite shows. Dr. Loomis informs Michael's mother that a dead cat was found in Michael's locker, and it is heavily implied that Michael takes pleasure in killing young animals, and that it is an early warning sign of psychopathic behavior. Michael's mother defends Michael, saying that Michael must have found the cat and put it in his bag. Dr. Loomis counters this by showing her gruesome photos that were found in Michael's school bag depicting dead animals. This prompts Michael, who had been listening in the other room, to leave school in a hurry. He soon confronts the bully, who proves that he not only torments Michael but other children as well, stealing another person's cap, spitting in it, and throwing it to the child once he is done with it. He laments to his friend that once his parents find out about his recent behavior and detention, he will be grounded for a month. Once alone, walking home, the boy is soon confronted by Michael, who is once again wearing a mask. Michael hits the boy repeatedly attacks the boy with a tree branch, leaving the boy bloodied and beaten on the ground. Michael promptly who had been wearing a clown mask, lifts up the mask to reveal his face to the bully and takes back the obscene flyer advertising Judith's alleged sex services. Replacing the mask once again over his face, Michael kills the boy despite his pleas for mercy. That evening, a drunk Ronnie taunts Michael about his psychopathic behavior, saying that Michael thinks he is hot shit, and taunts Michael, saying that he is nothing. Ronnie, being quite intoxicated, promptly falls asleep. Michael's mother returns home, and although displeased with Michael's behavior, permits him to go trick-or-treating and asks Judith to accompany him, to which Judith, being the selfish, vain person she is, refuses, intending to spend the night with her boyfriend Steve. Michael's mother encounters Steve before she leaves herself to go to the Red Rabbit Lounge, a strip club where she works as a dancer. She tells Steve to leave by 11. It is clear that she does not like him and disapproves of their relationship. It is also implied that she met Ronnie at the Red Rabbit Lounge where she works, hence their current relationship, although it is not a romantic one by any means. Michael's mother and Ronnie, I am referring to, of course. Judith does not take Michael trick-or-treating, instead leaving poor Michael to fend for himself, going out in his clown mask. He manages to collect some candy, however, and a montage is shown of Michael sitting alone while the song Love Hurts plays in the background, also showing Michael's mother doing her business as a pole dancer at the Red Rabbit Hole, Ronnie being drunk and sleeping on the couch, and Steve and Judith preparing to make love on the bed. Steve, wanting to joke around with Judith, tells Judith to close her eyes and puts on a Halloween mask. Judith, however, is not impressed and thinks he is being stupid. Upon Steve apologizing and asking about Ronnie, to which Judith insists that Ronnie is not her father and her real father is in heaven, and not to bring the subject up again. Steve then goes downstairs to get a drink, where he is confronted by Michael and promptly beaten to death with a baseball bat. Backtracking slightly, while Steve and Judith were up in Judith's bedroom, Michael came home from trick-or-treating and found Ronnie drunk, asleep on the couch. He promptly binds Ronnie to the couch with duct tape, also securing his mouth, and promptly stabs him several times. Following the murder of Steve, Michael then proceeds upstairs, taking Steve's mask with him up to Judith's bedroom. He caresses Judith's leg. Judith, assuming it is Steve, having her back to Michael at this point, assumes it is him and asks him to stop. Upon discovering it is Michael, however, she becomes furious at this intrusion to her privacy and demands that he take off the mask and talk to her. To which Michael promptly replies by stabbing her in the stomach. This leaves a horrified and bleeding Judith to crawl helplessly down the hallway out of her room, where she is mercilessly hunted down and killed by her own younger brother. The grisly scene is soon discovered by Michael's mother, who screams hysterically at the sight of her dead daughter and partner. Michael is promptly arrested, and after a 10-month trial is placed in a psychiatric institution where he is placed under the care of Dr. Loomis. Michael and Dr. Loomis's relationship seems to start off rather pleasantly enough, where Michael inquires upon his first interview why Dr. Loomis speaks so funny, referring of course to his British accent. Loomis, amused, proceeds to interview Michael, asking him what he remembers of the night that his sister and stepfather died. Michael claims to have no memory of the incident and seems generally confused as to why he hasn't seen his sister and why he cannot go home. Loomis gently explains to Michael that he cannot go home as he has done terrible things. But, however, despite the brutality and brutal nature of his crimes, Michael is not fundamentally a bad person, and that Loomis will always be there for him as a friend. This saddens Michael, and it is here that Michael demonstrates his humanity as merely a lost little boy who is very confused and wants nothing more than to go home. It is also around this time that Michael shows his talent and penchant for making masks, a talent that Dr. Loomis seems to encourage. During this time, Michael also sees an orderly who calls him Mikey and seems to treat him with genuine care and respect. However, Michael's habit of making face masks becomes an obsession to the point that even his mother is forbidden to see his true face is permitted to see his face only for a short amount of time, as Michael seems more comfortable in the masks themselves. Dr. Loomis speculates that this obsession with masks seems to point to a dissociative attitude and personality within Michael, saying that Michael only feels himself when he is behind a mask, thus pointing to an identity and crisis for Michael and hidden psychological issues that he appears unable or unwilling to overcome, even with Dr. Loomis's help. Following a harrowing visit in which his mother comes to see him and Michael and his mother walk outside for a while, Michael is promptly taken back to Michael is given a photograph of himself and his younger sister, Boo, whom he affectionately calls, as a present by his mother. Upon being taken away to be spoken with by Dr. Loomis, Michael's mother leaves him temporarily. A nurse approaches Michael and inquires as to whether the sister can control the little baby standing beside Michael in Michael's arms can really be his, stating that she is pretty, implying that Michael is not. This infuriates Michael, who promptly murders the nurse in front of everybody, including Michael's mother, who screams in despair. So overcome with grief and shock at the incident, Michael's mother kills herself while in the company of her youngest daughter, leaving her only daughter and surviving non-incarcerated member of her family orphaned, and poor Michael to be alone in the psychiatric institute. 10 years later, Dr. Loomis has one final meeting with Michael, expressing his belief that Michael is his best friend, and stating that he has done all he can for Michael, and that Michael, soon to be transferred to another psychiatric facility, will be out of Dr. Loomis's care. This would be the last time the two would meet seemingly as friends, as Dr. Loomis is called away shortly thereafter, leaving Michael alone. Michael is then confronted by two abusive orderlies, who insult him while attempting to rape another psychologically disturbed female inmate. Michael saves the woman and kills the 2 orderlies and manages to escape from his chains and cell. He then confronts the orderly who had only been kind to Michael, who pleads for mercy. However, he is given none and promptly killed by Michael, who then escapes to Hattonfield, Illinois. We are then introduced to Laurie Strode and her family, a sweet girl with a sense of humour, whose best friends are Lindsay and Annie Beckett, the daughter of the local sheriff. It is also revealed that the little baby at the beginning of the film is actually Laurie, and following the death of her mother and incarceration of her brother Michael, she was adopted by the Strodes, who are a loving family and dote on their daughter. Laurie is celebrating Halloween by babysitting a precocious yet lovable young boy named Tommy, who has a fascination with supernatural creatures such as werewolves and believes in their such existence. Laurie plays along with Tommy, pretending to be spooked by the boogeyman and the wolfman. Unbeknownst to her, while collecting the mail for a local neighbor, she unwittingly stumbles upon Michael, who stands on the other side of the door. However, she does not notice him at this point. She is soon joined by her best friends Annie and Lindsay. Lindsay being the more vulgar of the two and a bit more outgoing than Laurie, and Annie, who is rebellious yet still kind-hearted deep down. They then see a figure on the street, and Annie and Lindsay proceed to mock him for being a pervert and insult him. Laurie, however, is little more spooked by this incident, promptly as they go to school. It is then revealed that the figure in question is actually Michael, watching them from across the street, and specifically watching his sister from across the street. Having escaped the psychiatric facility to reunite with his boo once again, and be with the only person who had ever been kind to him. That evening, while Laurie is to take care of Tommy, Annie is tasked with taking care of another person, a little girl named Lindsay, who loves dressing up who insists on being dressed up like Cleopatra. Annie, however, would much rather be spending Halloween with her boyfriend, Steve. Annie, not wanting to spend all Halloween night babysitting Lindsay, pressures Laurie into taking care of both Lindsay and Tommy, to which Laurie agrees, and Annie walks Lindsay across the street to Tommy's house while teasing Lindsay about spending time with Tommy, insinuating that the two of them should get together, even though, of course, the two of them are only 10. And Tommy, of course, not liking Lindsay, and Lindsay not liking Tommy. Boys and girls being natural enemies at 10 years old, of course, as it should be, he says sarcastically. Annie then meets up with Paul, and the two begin to make out. Before Paul can have sex with Annie, however, he is promptly killed by Michael, who had previously killed Lindsay and her boyfriend as well. Annie, though severely wounded and half naked, is promptly saved by Laurie, who had taken Lindsay with her to go check on Annie, as she had not heard from her for some time, and had gotten tired of babysitting both children. Upon discovering the wounded yet still alive Annie, Laurie promptly calls 911 and tells the children to run and get help, while she deals with the mysterious man who promptly attacks her. The children run screaming to Sheriff Beckett and Dr. Loomis, who had arrived in Hattonfield upon hearing of Michael's escape. Loomis, knowing that Michael is after his sister and who had informed Sheriff Brackett of this, promptly goes after Michael in an attempt to save Laurie. Michael, it should be noted, had also murdered Laurie's adoptive parents at this point. Thankfully, Tommy and Lindsay are taken to safety by Sheriff Brackett, leaving Laurie and Michael alone. Laurie managing to escape Michael and leading him away from Annie, who is promptly saved by her father in the process. However, Laurie is soon captured and brought to her childhood home, where Michael, taking off his mask, shows Laurie the same photograph he was given as a child of him as he was when he was 10 years old and a baby Laurie, imparting on her that he is her brother and is not there to do her harm. Laurie, not understanding, grabs Michael's discarded knife and stabs him and runs away. She then manages to get up into the roof of a building with a swimming pool. However, the beams give way and she falls into the pool, thus alerting Michael to her location. Michael grabs her and the two fight again. By this point, Laurie had managed to find Dr. Loomis, who had tried to intervene and attack Michael, stating that he is the boogeyman. However, Michael soon rises up, attacks Loomis, and knocks him unconscious. Laurie grabs Loomis's handgun and fights Michael, beating him unconscious and trying to shoot him in the head several times. Although the gun jams, however, Laurie is soon able to pull the trigger. The gunshot goes off and hits Michael in the head, but not before he regains consciousness and grabs Laurie's hand. The film ends with Laurie screaming in terror and pain, but alive. Well, that concludes Rob Zombie's Halloween 2007. I hope you enjoyed, and I apologize for its delay, as I am a little bit horrored out at this point, so I will not be doing Halloween 2 for some time, although rest assured I will do a review of it in the future. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing if you like the content. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button, as it does help my channel a lot. And leave a comment down below of if you have any suggestions for a review that I should do in the future. Thank you for watching. Be cool, and stay safe. Goodbye for now.